What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I got a couple super quick updates of just some things that apparently some of the precautions or protocols that the NFL is apparently looking to implement, for game days and stuff like that. So just want to share with you this one tweet from Ian Rappaport. NFL plans temperature checks. Okay, so this is part of screening for people who would get tested normally, right? Like temperatures, if you have a fever, right? That's part of it. Just for some context, right? That's one of the symptoms that you would have to exhibit. And let's be clear though, in a lot of places in this country, one of the symptoms you would have to exhibit. I've seen reports and heard stories of places where you would have to have, over a 100 temperature, a fever of over 100 for at least 3 days before you'd be able to get tested in some places in the country. Not everywhere, but in a lot of places for sure. So just as context. But anyway, this is what he says. The pre-game screening will be important. Anyone with bench access will be screened before entering the stadium. Anyone who records a temperature at or above 100.4 degrees or may have been exposed shall not be permitted to enter the stadium on game day. Okay, so I definitely have some comments on that. My first comment is, well, what about everybody else? That's for bench access, he says, i.e., the sideline and, have access to, the area where the coaches and players and stuff are going to be. Like media might have bench access, right? Or some kind of access around that area, right? But what about everybody else? What about the fans? Is that something you intend to do about the fans? Because you absolutely should. But again, though, even if you do, it doesn't really, it's nowhere near a foolproof plan, right? So you might be able to catch some people that have those temperatures and then, be able to, say, okay, hey, sorry, you're warm, you can't come in, right? Which, will then be obviously disappointing for any number of people who will have to experience that. But that's obviously the least of the worries. But what does it really matter at that point? I mean, look, if they're wearing a mask, then you can certainly potentially get there in time and prevent it. But I mean, especially when it comes to the fans, right, where there's a lot more people and likely to be people who don't wear masks and stuff like that. If it gets there and it gets in the air and it starts spreading around, then there's almost nothing you can do about it. So my point here is that this is an obvious protocol. They should do it, of course, for not just people who have access to the bench area and to the sidelines and so on and so forth, but they should also do it for everybody. All the fans that are going to be coming in and stuff, etc., if they do intend to have fans. But additionally, while it is absolutely a protocol that should be put in place, it's not a protocol that's anywhere close to a guarantee. In fact, none of the protocols are anywhere close to a guarantee. In large part because of the fact that, for instance, the social distancing, requirements and the requirements to wear masks. You can do that, but that doesn't mean people are gonna. And in fact, especially in this country and especially in places like Florida and Texas, unfortunately, the likelihood of there being people that will disobey and disregard those requirements is extremely high. So, it's a disaster waiting to happen. But that is, one of the apparent protocols that they are looking to implement. So, on one hand, I'm trying to be as fair as I possibly can, right? They can get some credit because it's an obvious thing, but it's literally the most minimal amount of credit because it's literally one of the most obvious things that you would do. It would absolutely have to be widespread across anybody who comes into the stadium, period. And it would have to be coupled with, several other different, the social distancing, wearing masks, et cetera, blah, 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 hand sanitizers, all these kinds of things, right? all these different measures would have to be coupled together. And then even when coupled together, there is, you know, maybe, I don't know what the percentage would be. 50, it's 75%. I don't know, maybe less. I don't know. But there is a significant percentage that these things will not work, and there will still be outbreaks. People will get sick and people will die. High percentages, significant percentages. My guess is it's probably at best 50-50, because it's just a game of, you know, or I was going to say it's a game of Russian roulette. So I guess, you know, if you want to take that kind of like serious odds, a revolver has what, 5-6 bullets? I guess kind of depends. I think it's 5 bullets. I don't know. I don't shoot revolvers too often. But let's say 5 bullets, 6 bullets. I don't know. That sounds a little bit more like it. I'm not a big revolver guy. Anyway, but so 1/5 or 1/6, right? I mean, it's not something that you take risks with, in my opinion. But even if you took those odds, it's just a massive Russian roulette with people's lives. Additionally, though, they also said that they are banning the exchange of jerseys between players at the end of games, right? So we've seen that before. I actually just watched a video, I think last night, about how, you know, Damian Williams and Raheem Mostert, the Chiefs and 49ers running backs respectively from the Super Bowl, you know, traded jerseys. And we see that all the time. You know, prominent players will trade jerseys and whatever, and they've banned that. Again, I mean, I guess that's like an obvious thing, but at the same time, at that point, I'm not sure that really fucking matters, right? Because if, you know, somebody has it and they have it and they were undetected and they get that close to the other guys, I'm pretty sure the exchanging of jerseys isn't gonna, you know, or the banning of exchanging jerseys isn't gonna do much. But it's another precaution, so I'm not hating on it. It probably is like one of the most like useless precautions, but I guess keep adding it on. The more precautions, the better, for sure. Also, though, let's note, because I almost forgot to mention this, you know, with those temperature checks, I mean, it's absolutely possible, unless it's an actual test for the virus. I mean, people could fly under that easy, right? I mean, you know, our average temperature, normal temperature, is about 98. Right? So you only have a couple degrees there of wiggle room. But what if you just got the virus and you haven't gotten, you know, the symptoms yet? Or what if you're asymptomatic and you don't have a fever, right? There's so many things that can go wrong with this that it's... Anyway, I don't want to, you know, make this too long-winded, but there were a couple updates on some of their protocols. And again, to be as fair as possible, just to wrap this up, while it is good that they are, you know, adding more data points to their side of the argument, I guess, if you will, you know, more things that they can add to their list of, you know, precautions and protocols, that is good, but I don't think it's anywhere near enough, personally. And I think, personally, the right answer is just to shut it down entirely and just not take the risk to begin with. But as always, we will have to wait and see how that develops, and what they decide going forward. So as there are more developments, as there are more developments, I obviously will give those to you. And so with that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys enjoy and appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.